bloody good. Chicken fried steak.
Mum.
Never ever had chicken fried steak before.
Guys, we are at Paige's Okra Grill after so many people told us to come here. I've got the chicken fried steak. I've got the gravy on the side just in case I don't like it.
If this plate of food were served in Paris or London, the chef would definitely be fired immediately. A piece of deep-fried battered beef, drenched in a thick white sauce that Europeans wouldn't hesitate to call pet food. However, 99% of European diners turn back at the very first bite. How did a visual disaster become a culinary legend that melted away all prejudices? What secret has transformed chicken fried steak, a rough dish, into an American cultural icon that has conquered the world? Let's find out right now. Especially at the 5-minute mark, the secret about this strange sauce will completely change your mind. Let's get started. It's funny to see many European diners grimace, viewing the American chicken fried steak as a mushy visual disaster or even likening it to pet food. But the most ironic truth in culinary history lies here. The dish that Europeans just criticized is actually the bloodchild born from their own ancestors.
I'll tell you what I think we've taken for granted here in America. Chicken fried steak. I've been seeing all these folks from all over the world coming to America, trying our food for the first time. They'll go to New York for some pizza, Chicago for a hot dog. They go to California for avocado toast and almond sprinkles, probably attached to a mission statement. They come down south and somebody sets a chicken fried steak in front of them with white gravy.
Rewinding back to the 19th century, impoverished immigrant waves from Germany and Austria crossed the Atlantic to settle in the barren land of Texas. In their meager belongings, they brought along the most cherished culinary heritage of their homeland, the famous Wiener Schnitzel from Vienna or the rich cotoletta from Italy. In Europe, schnitzel is a symbol of elegance, where tender veal is coated in fine breadcrumbs and fried to a golden perfection. However, when they set foot in the American West, harsh reality poured a bucket of cold water on their dreams. How could there be expensive veal in a land of tough, stringy beef cattle? How could a destitute immigrant family afford to buy premium cuts of beef? The survival instinct amidst the harsh nature did not allow them to give up. Look at the circumstances of the blacksmiths or immigrant farmers of that time. After a day of exhausting labor under the scorching Texas sun, what they needed was not a fancy, elegant plate of food, but calories, lots of calories to keep going. Without tender veal, they bought the oldest, cheapest cuts of beef, full of sinew and connective tissue, also known as cube steak. And to turn that tough-as-a-boot piece of meat into something edible, Americans invented a very simple cuisine philosophy. If life gives you a tough piece of meat, smash it with a hammer. They use a mallet to pound each tough, fatty muscle fiber until it becomes tender, coat it in a thick layer of seasoned flour, and then immerse it in a sizzling hot pan of oil just like how fried chicken is made. That's why it has the most confusing name, chicken fried steak, a beef steak but with a coating of fried chicken. Each hammer strike on the old wooden cutting board was not just a technique for tenderizing meat, but the heartbeat of the pioneering spirit, transforming what seemed like waste into culinary pride. What truly ignites the cultural war across the Atlantic lies in the final step, the layer of gravy.
In my video of my chicken fried steak, I asked y'all to comment, bring the gravy, if you wanted to know how to make my chicken fried steak gravy. Well, here it is, y'all. We're bringing the gravy. This Southern classic is sure to satisfy your comfort food cravings. First, melt your butter in a hot skillet, then add your leftover dredging flour to the skillet. Crush any lumps and let it brown a little, cooking out the flour taste. Lower the temperature to low and add your milk, whisking together well to get rid of any lumps. The thickening process may take a little longer, but it's worth it to let it simmer.
In Europe, the golden rule of schnitzel is that the crust must be completely dry and crispy, and when eaten, just squeeze a slice of fresh lemon to enhance the flavor. Europeans consider pouring any kind of sauce over the crispy fried coating to be an unforgivable crime. However, Southerners in America go wild by pouring a ladle of rich, creamy, hot, and peppery white gravy directly over the entire steak. At first glance, everyone thinks that the thick sauce will completely ruin the crispiness of the crust. But this is the twist that astonishes culinary scientists. This combination, initially deemed a disaster, inadvertently creates a unique two-texture phenomenon. The hot gravy sauce seeps into the center, blending with milk and meat fat to create a smooth, rich texture, while the outer edge of the steak retains its perfectly crispy crunch. Each bite is a sensory explosion, crispy, tender, rich, and peppery. At this point, do you agree that the way Americans pour gravy is a stroke of genius, or do you still belong to the traditional European camp, wanting to keep the fried coating always dry? Don't hesitate to leave your opinion in the comments section below. And if you are enjoying these interesting culinary stories, take 2 seconds to hit like and subscribe to the channel right now. Your support is the greatest motivation for me to continue delving into untold cultural secrets. However, the story of this fried steak plate doesn't stop there. The truth is, if you think the crispy crust or the smashed beef patty is the pinnacle of astonishment, then you are completely mistaken. Because what truly blows the minds of European tourists, something they once considered the most bizarre and dog food-like part, is actually the soul hidden within that jar of white sauce. Let's move on to the next part to uncover the secret of the most misunderstood sauce in human history. Now, let's embark on a sensory explosion journey, where initial criticisms turn into viral moments on the internet. Let's start with a fascinating real-life example. A British couple visiting a traditional restaurant in the heart of Texas for the first time. When the waiter brought out a plate of fried steak drenched in a cloudy white sauce, their faces clearly showed confusion and hesitation.
Tonight you have got a real meal from the deep south, and it was highly requested that I give you this one.
For the people of the land of fog, the concept of gravy is always associated with a rich, brown color, simmered deeply from bone and meat broth. Looking at a thick, white sauce speckled with black pepper poured over a plate of beef, they exclaimed that it looked no different from paste or even pet food. However, that psychological barrier completely crumbled the moment the fork dug in. The crispy sound burst forth, mingling with the rising hot steam. At the very first bite, their eyes widened in astonishment. The creaminess of the milk, the rich taste of the fat combined with the pungent, slightly spicy flavor of black pepper delivered a sweet slap to all prejudices. They kept nodding and had to exclaim, "It's the real comfort food! This flavor is truly explosive!" Not stopping there, the astonishment of European guests reached its peak when they faced another cultural shock, the shock of the American breakfast. American breakfast. At 8 a.m., when European tourists step into restaurant chains like Cracker Barrel or classic diners. In their minds, breakfast is just as light as a croissant, a plate of cereal, or a cup of elegant espresso. But Americans serve up a gigantic plate of chicken fried steak, drenched in gravy, accompanied by 2 runny sunny side-up eggs and a side of crispy hash browns.
So I tried to make chicken fried steak the other week and it was a bit of a disaster. Someone told me I should try it at Cracker Barrel. I'm at Cracker Barrel. I wasn't expecting to be able to get it because it is breakfast time. But here I am looking at the breakfast menu, which contains battered steak with gravy. So now I have to order it. Okay, here it is. Obviously, it's with breakfast sides and not mash and corn today. But yeah, I can safely say already it is absolutely nothing like what I made. I asked for the gravy on the side just in case, which is here. It's definitely not at all like what I made. Let's taste it. Got some steak, got some gravy. Smells good. Smells like a hamburger. Oh, I actually like that. I have no idea what would possess someone to eat this at breakfast time.
That scene left quite a few vloggers speechless for a few seconds. Even an English vlogger exclaimed, "If I had this breakfast in London every day, I would probably have a heart attack." But why do Americans consume a plate of food containing over 1,500 calories right after waking up? This is not a matter of convenience, but a deep-seated legacy of the southern agricultural economy of the United States. Farmers, miners, or manual laborers of the past had to start a grueling 1-2 hour workday under harsh weather conditions. They need a huge amount of calories from dawn to survive and work until dusk. That 1,500 calorie breakfast is the fuel that ignites the labor engine of a nation on the path to development. However, the pinnacle of this sensory conquest belongs to the story of a couple from Northern Ireland. They bought the ingredients themselves and prepared chicken fried steak in their small kitchen. At first, the wife remained deeply skeptical of the name chicken-style fried steak. But when the golden battered beef was lifted out of the frying pan, drizzled with a fragrant white sauce, and the couple tasted it together, all doubts completely vanished. The husband closed his eyes in enjoyment and exclaimed, "It melts right in your mouth! I swear to God, this dish is even better than the legendary biscuits and gravy!" And without a moment's hesitation, they gave a perfect score of 10 to this dish, which is considered a visual disaster. The secret behind breaking down all cultural barriers lies in the power of synthetic umami flavor. The combination of the rich sweetness of beef, the crispy fattiness of deep-fried batter, and the creamy, spicy kick of peppery gravy has created a perfect explosion of flavors. If it were you, would you have the courage to try a plate of 1,500-calorie deep-fried steak with sauce at 8 a.m.? Please leave a comment sharing your thoughts below. And if you find these analyses interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to continue exploring the extremely surprising culinary secrets with me. At this point, you might be wondering, why does that strange layer of white gravy possess such enchanting power? Is there a scientific secret or some mysterious spice hidden so deeply that Americans fervently sprinkle black pepper and spray hot sauce on it? Let's move on to the next part to decode all the science behind the most misunderstood sauce in culinary history. Now, let's step into the secret room together, the place that decodes the strange soul, which is also the main reason why Europeans look at the plate and say something outrageous. It looks no different from pet food. That is white gravy, also known as country gravy, the sauce that has been most misunderstood and faced the most prejudice in the history of world cuisine. Why does a sauce poured over a steak make people feel visually repulsed? From the outside, white gravy has a cloudy white color, is thick and gloppy, speckled with strange black particles, looking no different from a bowl of failed paste or a mixture for pets. In the refined culinary mindset of Europe, gravy must be something clear, smooth, or at least have the rich, deep brown color of broth simmered for many hours. But Southerners don't do it that way. They created this sauce with a unique recipe born from the remarkable thrift and creativity of the pioneers. Look at how a Southern chef makes this sauce. After frying the breaded beef steak in a blazing hot cast iron skillet, they absolutely do not pour out the excess fat or scrape off the golden crumbs stuck to the bottom of the pan. With the instinct to save every precious calorie like their ancestors did, they sprinkle a handful of flour directly into the hot, greasy pan, stir it evenly to create a thickening agent, roux, and then quickly pour in cold, fresh milk. Under the heat of the fire, the mixture of milk, fat, and fried meat fragments blend together, thickening into a rich, smooth sauce. And the final piece to transform this rich mixture into a masterpiece is a huge amount of black pepper. The people in the South sprinkle so much black pepper that it completely covers the surface of the sauce. Many British tourists, upon seeing that scene, were startled and exclaimed, "Sprinkling so much pepper like this must be banned by law for safety violations." But the pungent, aromatic flavor of black pepper shattered the overwhelming greasiness of the fat and milk, creating an irresistible rich taste. However, the peak of shock for European tourists does not stop there. Another psychological challenge erupted when they witnessed the locals casually holding bottles of bright red Tabasco or Texas Pete hot sauce, spraying it directly over the thick, cloudy white sauce. At first glance, this action seems absurd and messy, like you're intentionally ruining a dish. But from the perspective of taste science, this is actually a genius move. Let's analyze this mechanism a bit. The white sauce layer is composed of fat from lard and protein from milk, creating a very rich and thick flavor on the surface of the tongue. If you eat it just like that, your taste buds will quickly become overwhelmed. Palate fatigue. When people spray some hot sauce on it, the mild acidity and explosive spiciness of the vinegar and chili in the hot sauce immediately act like a scientific knife, cutting through the excess richness. The combination of the mild acidity of vinegar, the spiciness of chili, the strong aroma of black pepper, and the rich creaminess of butter creates a perfect palate balance. What was once considered a visual crime has now become a symphony of flavors that anyone who dares to taste cannot stop. If you're lucky enough to enjoy this dish at an authentic American diner, how can you eat it the right way like a local without losing the crispiness of the fried coating? Here is a tip from culinary experts. You should never cut the entire steak into pieces right from the start. Please use a knife to cut a small corner of the beef. Then use a fork to gently drag it through the layer of white gravy and the plate of mashed potatoes beside it. In this way, the edges of the meat remain crispy and crunchy, while the tender beef inside is perfectly blended with the rich gravy and smooth mashed potatoes. A single bite brings together all three layers of texture, crispy, tender, and rich. At this point, Have you found the magic behind this strange bowl of white gravy surprising? If you find these culinary science secrets truly useful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel right now to give the video a boost, hype, for greater reach. Your support is the source of energy that helps me continue to delve into the next super exciting topics. However, behind the explosion of taste and culinary science, chicken fried steak is not simply a dish overflowing with calories. It also contains a profoundly deep picture of the American character, explaining why a humble dish costing just a few dollars has become a powerful symbol capable of overshadowing the luxurious standards of European cuisine. Let's move on to the next part to explore the economic story and life philosophy behind this legendary fried steak. If European cuisine, especially French or Italian, always worships the elaborate, the refined, and the aesthetic beauty on each white porcelain plate, then Southern American cuisine chooses a completely opposite path: practicality, generosity, and unconditional warmth. The chicken fried steak has never and will never try to transform itself into a luxurious dish on the menu of Michelin-starred five-star restaurants. It was born from the kitchens of working-class women, where the philosophy of democratizing cuisine is most clearly expressed. Never discard something ordinary just because it doesn't look glamorous. Use creativity, enthusiasm, and hospitality to turn the cheapest cut of meat into a meal that leaves and look at the story of mechanics or long-haul truck drivers passing through the rural areas of America. After thousands of exhausting miles, what they seek is not a thin slice of grilled meat adorned with a few expensive sprigs of herbs, but a steaming plate of chicken fried steak drenched in white gravy at a roadside diner. That crispy fried beef not only fills the hungry stomach, but also perfectly embodies the American spirit, turning difficulties into opportunities and providing maximum value for every dollar you spend. It is this pragmatic philosophy that has created economic figures that leave many Europeans astonished. Let's make a comparison. At a traditional diner in America, a super gigantic chicken fried steak, accompanied by two side dishes of your choice like mashed potatoes, fried okra, or corn, plus a biscuit, costs only about $3.95 to $5.99. This price is cheaper by up to 1/3 compared to ordering a regular grilled steak at restaurants. It is an undeniable economic gain for anyone looking to optimize costs while still enjoying a hearty meal. Moreover, the cultural and economic influence of this humble dish is so significant that in 1988, the state government of Oklahoma officially included chicken fried steak in the list of the official state meal of Oklahoma. A dish once considered shabby, resembling dog food, has now become a cultural heritage protected and celebrated by law. This turnaround is solid proof that the true value of cuisine does not lie in its glamorous appearance, but in its place in the hearts of the people. The strange allure of this dish is also creating an extremely promising market gap across the Atlantic. When witnessing a series of British tourists and vloggers after trying this dish, exclaiming in unison, "Why is no one selling this in the UK?" This is absolutely a huge market gap that is being left open. We are witnessing a new economic trend forming. Just like how major fried chicken chains like Wingstop or Popeyes were once met with skepticism but then swept through, creating long lines in London or Paris, chicken fried steak is currently an undercover star ready to explode in the European market. Europeans may start with visual disdain, but this quintessentially American business model, delicious, nutritious, affordable, and extremely satisfying, always finds a way to win over even the most discerning appetites. At this point, what do you think about the potential of this fried steak dish if it were to appear in Vietnam or Europe? Could this model create a new franchise craze? Please leave a comment below so we can discuss together. And if you find these economic cultural analyses resonate with your perspective, please skillfully hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. Your interaction is the biggest leverage that helps the video continue to be strongly recommended by the YouTube algorithm. We have journeyed through initial criticisms, deciphering historical origins, the science of preparation, to the profound economic impact of the American-style fried steak plate. But how will this story end? What is the biggest lesson Europeans learn after overcoming the barrier of dog food to take the first bite? Let's move on to the conclusion of the video to summarize this valuable message. Thus, from a dish once hesitantly likened to dog food under the critical gaze of European tourists, chicken fried steak has proven a valuable truth. Never judge a dish or a culture solely by its exterior. Behind that murky sauce and rough fried batter is not a haphazard mess, but a whole heritage story. From the resilience of European immigrants, the survival skills of Western pioneers, to the pragmatic philosophy and characteristic hospitality of the American South. A single bite not only changes the taste, but also shatters long-standing cultural prejudices. Now, the question is yours. If faced with a plate of chicken fried steak drenched in rich white gravy at 8 a.m., would you be ready to bravely take a bite that could change everything? Or are you still loyal to the dry, elegant grilled steak style of Europe? Please leave your perspective in the comments section below so we can discuss it together. And if you love the way we dissect the cultural, economic, social perspectives behind everyday phenomena like this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any exciting videos next. Click on the video appearing on the screen to continue the journey of exploration with me. This video is produced based on real materials, cultural historical research, and personal reactions of content creators for the purpose of education, entertainment, and analysis of popular culture. All images and quoted clips are copyrighted by their respective owners and are used under YouTube's fair use policy. The channel does not intend to offend or belittle any individual, nation, or culture. Thank you for your support. See you in the next videos on our channel.